There comes a moment in life when we must look in the mirror and realize that greatness does not belong only to a chosen few. It belongs to those who are willing to step beyond the comfort of the ordinary. Too often, people underestimate themselves, believing they are destined to live small, unnoticed lives, while greatness is reserved for others. But the truth is, every extraordinary person you admire once started in the same place you are now ordinary. What separated them from the rest was not luck, privilege, or chance, but the courage to believe that their story could be bigger than their circumstances. Extraordinary does not happen in a single leap. It is built brick by brick through daily choices, sacrifices, and relentless determination. The difference between staying ordinary and becoming extraordinary lies in the willingness to go the extra mile when others stop, to rise again when failure knocks you down, and to keep moving forward when doubt whispers that you can't. The path is not easy, but it is worth it, because every step you take in pursuit of a better version of yourself pushes you closer to unlocking the extraordinary within you. Think about the people who shaped history, who left behind legacies that continue to inspire generations. They were not born with superhuman abilities. They were born like you and me, with fears, doubts, and limitations. What set them apart was their refusal to settle for mediocrity. They understood that talent alone does not create greatness. Discipline, persistence, and vision do. When others chose comfort, they chose growth. When others made excuses, they made sacrifices. When others saw obstacles, they saw opportunities. That is the mindset that transforms an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. You don't have to be the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented to achieve something remarkable. You simply have to be willing to show up every day and give more than you gave yesterday. Extraordinary is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about pushing past fear, embracing the unknown, and daring to do the things most people are too afraid to try. Success does not belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who take bold action, even when the outcome is uncertain. The extraordinary version of yourself is already within you, waiting to be discovered. It lives in the risks you take, the courage you show, the battles you fight, and the resilience you build along the way. It is revealed in the moments when you refuse to give up, when you silence the inner critic that says you can't, and when you decide that your dreams matter too much to let them die. Your journey from ordinary to extraordinary is not about changing who you are. It's about becoming all that you were meant to be. Every extraordinary story starts with a decision, the decision to believe, to try, to fight, and to rise. The decision to no longer accept an average life when greatness is possible. You have everything it takes inside you to create a future that inspires not only yourself, but those who come after you. The question is not whether you are capable. The question is whether you are willing. Ordinary will always be safe, but extraordinary will always be worth it. So take that step, embrace the challenge, and write the story that proves you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. Greatness belongs to anyone willing to rise above ordinary choices and embrace growth. This truth is universal, yet many people fail to realize its power. Too often, we see greatness as something reserved for a select few: celebrities, leaders, athletes, inventors, or visionaries, forgetting that they too were once ordinary. What separated them was not some magical gift, but the decisions they made daily. Every small choice, every courageous step, every act of discipline built the foundation that carried them to extraordinary heights. Greatness is not about luck or privilege. It is about refusing to settle for comfort when growth calls you to more. Ordinary choices are the easy ones, the choices that require little risk, little effort, and little sacrifice. It is choosing to procrastinate instead of taking action, choosing comfort over challenge, choosing excuses over accountability. While these choices feel safe, they slowly trap people in a cycle of mediocrity where dreams remain unfulfilled and potential remains unused. Growth, on the other hand, requires courage. It requires stepping outside of what feels familiar and pushing yourself into the unknown. Growth is uncomfortable because it demands effort, consistency, and vulnerability. But it is in this discomfort where greatness is forged. Every great achievement in history has been born from someone's decision to embrace growth, instead of clinging to ordinary choices. Consider an athlete training before sunrise while others sleep, a student dedicating extra hours to learning while others are distracted, or an entrepreneur risking failure to chase a vision while others play it safe. These individuals were not guaranteed success, but by embracing growth, they gave themselves the chance to achieve it. Their greatness came not from where they started, but from the choices they made along the way. When we say greatness belongs to anyone, it truly means anyone. It does not matter your background, your circumstances, or your current position in life. What matters is whether you are willing to rise above average thinking and average effort. Many people waste years believing they are not special enough to achieve something meaningful, when in reality, greatness is not about being special. It is about being consistent. Ordinary choices will always keep you where you are. But the moment you start choosing growth, you change your direction. Growth may look different for each person. For one, it may mean developing discipline and breaking harmful habits. For another, it may mean taking risks in business or speaking up when fear tempts them to stay silent. Growth often demands sacrifice, whether it be time, comfort, or even relationships that hold you back. But the reward is worth it, because every time you embrace growth, you elevate yourself one step closer to extraordinary. Greatness is not a single achievement. It is the sum of countless small victories over ordinary choices. The truth is, greatness does not arrive suddenly. It is cultivated. It begins with a decision to no longer accept mediocrity. It continues with daily habits that align with your vision. And it is sustained by resilience when challenges try to break you. Each day offers you a choice, to remain where you are or to move toward who you are meant to be. The people who choose growth again and again, even when it's difficult, even when progress is slow, are the ones who eventually rise to greatness. There will always be a temptation to remain ordinary. The world often encourages conformity because it is safe and predictable. But extraordinary lives are not built by staying within the lines. They are built by daring to step beyond them. The difference between an ordinary person and a great one is not ability, but mindset. If you believe you can grow, if you believe your effort matters, and if you are willing to rise above excuses, you have already placed yourself on the path to greatness. Greatness does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be persistent. You will make mistakes. You will face failure. You will feel doubt. But these moments are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you are growing. The most extraordinary people are not the ones who never fell, but the ones who kept rising every time they did. They saw failure not as the end, but as a teacher that sharpened them for the journey ahead. When you look at your life, ask yourself, are your choices ordinary, or do they push you toward growth? Are you repeating the same safe routines, or are you challenging yourself to reach higher? Every decision, no matter how small, is shaping the person you are becoming. Choose growth, and in time, you will discover the greatness that has always lived within you. The truth remains clear: greatness belongs to anyone, not just the few we admire from afar. It belongs to those who decide that ordinary is not enough. It belongs to those who choose growth when comfort tempts them to stop. It belongs to those who are willing to fight through fear, doubt, and failure to build something greater with their lives. Your greatness is not ahead of you, waiting to be found. It is within you, waiting to be unlocked by the choices you make today. Extraordinary is built through daily persistence, discipline, and resilience, not perfection or luck. Too often, people convince themselves that greatness belongs only to those born with rare talent or those who stumble upon luck at the right time. But history has proven again and again that what truly creates extraordinary outcomes is the willingness to keep showing up, to build consistent habits, and to remain strong even when the road is difficult. Extraordinary lives are not accidental. They are intentional, crafted piece by ordinary people who refuse to give up. Persistence is the first ingredient. Many people start strong but fade away when results don't come quickly. The truth is that persistence is the bridge between starting and succeeding. Every dream, every goal, every vision requires time to grow. And it is persistence that keeps you moving forward when you feel like stopping. The writer who writes 1 page a day, the athlete who trains even on tired mornings, the student who studies when motivation is low, these are the people who eventually rise above the rest. Persistence is not glamorous. It is often lonely, tiring, and repetitive. But persistence is what transforms small actions into massive results over time. Alongside persistence comes discipline. While persistence keeps you moving through difficulty, discipline keeps you moving with focus. Discipline is the choice to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It means following through on your commitments, honoring your goals, and sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term achievement. Discipline is what separates dreams that remain ideas from dreams that become reality. Without discipline, even the most passionate start will fizzle into frustration. With discipline, progress becomes inevitable. Extraordinary people understand that discipline is not about restriction, but about freedom. The freedom to create the life you desire by staying true to the actions that lead you there. Resilience is the final piece that holds it all together. No matter how persistent and disciplined you are, life will test you. You will face setbacks, failures, rejections, and disappointments. Many people allow these obstacles to break them, but extraordinary individuals use them as stepping stones. Resilience is the ability to bend without breaking, to rise after every fall, and to keep going when the weight of the world tries to crush you. It is resilience that turns failure into wisdom, pain into strength, and obstacles into opportunities. Without resilience, setbacks become endings. With resilience, setbacks become beginnings. When you combine persistence, discipline, and resilience, you create a force more powerful than luck and more sustainable than perfection. Luck may open a door, but without persistence, discipline, and resilience, you cannot walk through it and stay. Perfection is an illusion that paralyzes many people, stopping them from even starting because they fear not being flawless. Extraordinary is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about showing up with consistency, growing through challenges, and refusing to quit. The person who embraces persistence, discipline, and resilience will always outlast the one who waits for luck or strives only for perfection. Think about how extraordinary achievements are built. A musician does not become world-class after a single performance. They practice daily, pushing through mistakes and setbacks. An entrepreneur does not build a successful business overnight. They make disciplined decisions day after day, learning from failures and adapting to challenges. An athlete does not break records by chance. They persist through endless training sessions, maintain discipline in every aspect of their lifestyle, and rise back up after defeats. None of these examples are fueled by luck or perfection. They are fueled by daily persistence, discipline, and resilience. Everyday life offers countless opportunities to apply these principles. Choosing to wake up early to work on your goals, staying committed to your routines even when motivation is gone, and getting back on track after a failure. These are the moments where extraordinary is built. It does not happen in one grand gesture. It happens in the countless small choices you make when no one is watching. The discipline to stay the course, the persistence to keep going, and the resilience to recover from setbacks create a foundation that cannot be shaken by circumstance. The beauty of this truth is that it is available to everyone. You do not need to be born into wealth, fame, or privilege to live an extraordinary life. You do not need perfect conditions or flawless execution. You simply need the willingness to persist, to discipline yourself, and to rise after every fall. These qualities are not inherited, they are developed. And the more you practice them, the stronger they become. Extraordinary is not reserved for the chosen few. It is accessible to anyone who dares to commit to the process. When you look at extraordinary lives, you see the results, not the struggle. You see the awards, not the endless hours of discipline. You see the victories, not the countless moments of persistence. You see the strength, not the battles that demanded resilience. But make no mistake, Extraordinary is not accidental. It is the direct outcome of ordinary people refusing to quit, refusing to settle, and refusing to let setbacks define them. So the next time you find yourself doubting whether you can achieve something remarkable, remember this: you do not need perfection, and you do not need luck. You need persistence to keep moving forward, discipline to stay focused, and resilience to rise after every fall. With these three, there is no limit to what you can build. Extraordinary is within your reach, and it begins with the choice to embrace these qualities every single day. Every extraordinary figure in history started out ordinary, but refused to settle for mediocrity. This is one of the most powerful truths to remember when you feel small, invisible, or uncertain about your potential. Too many people assume that greatness is only possible for a select few who were born into privilege, equipped with rare gifts, or chosen by fate to leave a mark. But the reality is that extraordinary individuals are not born extraordinary. They become extraordinary by making the decision to rise above mediocrity and refusing to accept a life of limitations. They were ordinary people who chose to act with extraordinary commitment. When you study the stories of those who changed the world, you notice something striking. Most of them began with struggles, doubts, and circumstances that looked unremarkable. They were not handed success, nor were they free of hardship. In fact, many were surrounded by failure, poverty, rejection, or skepticism. What set them apart was their refusal to let mediocrity define them. Instead of accepting an average life, they pushed beyond their limitations, embraced risk, and kept moving forward despite obstacles. They showed the world that greatness is not determined by where you start, but by how far you are willing to go. Consider the lives of inventors, thinkers, and leaders. Thomas Edison, for instance, was once labeled as slow by his teachers. Many would have accepted that judgment and lived quietly, never reaching for more. But Edison refused mediocrity. Through persistence and countless failures, he created inventions that shaped modern life. Similarly, Abraham Lincoln faced repeated failures in business, politics, and even personal life, yet he refused to let those setbacks define him. Instead of surrendering to mediocrity, he rose to become one of the most respected leaders in history. Their stories are proof that the extraordinary is not about perfect beginnings. It is about resilient choices. Even in modern times, extraordinary achievers remind us that they started as ordinary people. Oprah Winfrey faced poverty and adversity, yet she refused to accept that as her destiny. She worked, persisted, and believed in her vision until she built a legacy that continues to inspire millions. Elon Musk was not born into global influence. He started with ideas, persistence, and countless setbacks, but he refused to settle for mediocrity in his industries. From athletes who grew up in challenging environments to artists who once struggled to be heard, every extraordinary figure shares the same pattern: an ordinary beginning transformed by an extraordinary refusal to settle. Mediocrity is the comfort zone where most people remain. It is choosing safety over risk, familiarity over challenge, and excuses over progress. Mediocrity whispers that you should stay where you are, do what everyone else is doing, and not push too far. But the extraordinary is never found in comfort zones. It requires stepping into discomfort, taking risks that others avoid, and pushing through the fear of failure. Ordinary people become extraordinary the moment they decide that mediocrity is no longer acceptable, that their lives are meant for more, and that they are willing to do the work required to reach it. It is also important to understand that refusing mediocrity does not mean living without failure. In fact, extraordinary people fail more often than most because they are constantly pushing themselves beyond their limits. What separates them is that failure never convinces them to settle. Instead, they learn, adjust, and rise again. While others let failure chain them to mediocrity, extraordinary people use it as a stepping stone to greatness. They know that the cost of mediocrity is far higher than the cost of failure, because mediocrity robs you of your potential, while failure teaches you how to unlock it. The extraordinary life is not about achieving fame or fortune. It is about fulfilling the potential that lies within you. Every person has the ability to be extraordinary in their own sphere of influence. It could be in the way you lead your family, the way you serve your community, the way you excel in your career, or the way you inspire others through your journey. Extraordinary is not about being better than others. It is about being better than you were yesterday. It is about rejecting mediocrity in your own life and striving for the highest version of yourself. If you ever doubt your ability to rise above ordinary, remember that those we admire once stood exactly where you stand now. They had doubts. They faced opposition. They wondered if they were good enough. But they made a choice. They chose growth over comfort, courage over fear, and action over hesitation. That choice is available to you every single day. Extraordinary is not something waiting for you in the distant future. It is something you begin building the moment you refuse to settle. So the challenge is clear. Will you accept mediocrity, or will you rise to something greater? The path may be long and difficult, but the decision begins now. Ordinary beginnings should never define the ending of your story. The extraordinary life is yours to create if you are willing to pay the price of discipline, persistence, and resilience. The people you admire most were once ordinary, just like you, but they chose to step out of mediocrity and into possibility. That same choice is in your hands today. Obstacles are not barriers, but opportunities to unlock hidden strength and potential. At first, challenges may appear as walls standing between you and your dreams. But the truth is that every obstacle carries within it a chance for growth. Life has a way of testing us, not to punish us, but to prepare us. The struggles we face are not designed to stop us. They are designed to shape us into stronger, wiser, and more resilient versions of ourselves. When you shift your perspective and see obstacles not as permanent roadblocks, but as stepping stones, you begin to realize that the very things you once feared can become the fuel that drives you forward. Every obstacle is an invitation to discover something within yourself that you didn't know existed. Strength is rarely revealed in times of comfort. Potential is rarely discovered when life is easy. It is only when you are tested, stretched, and pushed to your limits that you uncover the depth of your abilities. Think of a seed planted in the ground. At first, it must push through the heavy soil above it, breaking through darkness and pressure to reach the light. That resistance does not destroy it. It strengthens it and allows it to grow. In the same way, your obstacles are the soil pressing against you, creating the conditions necessary for your growth. Many people see obstacles as signs to quit, as if struggle means they are on the wrong path. But in reality, the presence of obstacles often signals that you are on the path worth pursuing. Nothing of value comes without challenge. The athlete striving for greatness must push through fatigue and defeat. The entrepreneur building a vision must endure setbacks, rejections, and failures. The student reaching for excellence must overcome distractions and self-doubt. In every case, it is the obstacle itself that develops the strength needed to achieve the goal. Without it, the journey would be shallow, and the success would not last. Obstacles also have a way of teaching us lessons we could not learn otherwise. Failure, rejection, and difficulty often reveal weaknesses that need to be strengthened and skills that need to be developed. They refine our character, forcing us to become more disciplined, patient, and resourceful. Consider how many breakthroughs in history were born from obstacles. Inventors failed countless times before discovering new solutions. Leaders faced criticism and opposition before rising to inspire nations. Every obstacle they encountered was not the end of their journey, but the very condition that made their success possible. It is natural to feel frustration, disappointment, and even fear when you face obstacles. But growth begins when you learn to pause and ask yourself, what is this challenge teaching me? What strength is it calling out of me? What potential is it trying to unlock? By asking these questions, you transform an obstacle from a source of discouragement into a source of empowerment. Suddenly, setbacks become stepping stones, and struggles become preparation for something greater. Obstacles are also powerful because they reveal resilience. Anyone can move forward when the path is smooth, But true character is revealed when the road becomes difficult. Resilience is built in the moments when quitting seems easier, but you decide to press on anyway. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought, that your capacity is greater than you imagined. Over time, these victories compound, and you develop an unshakable confidence that no matter what life throws at you, you have the strength to overcome it. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Chances are, it wasn't during moments of comfort, but during moments of challenge. Perhaps it was when you faced rejection, but found the courage to try again. Perhaps it was when you endured failure, but discovered a better way forward. Perhaps it was when you lost something important, but gained a deeper understanding of yourself. These experiences were painful in the moment, but they unlocked potential you may have never discovered otherwise. When you embrace obstacles as opportunities, you also inspire others. People admire not those who live without struggle, but those who rise despite it. Your ability to face challenges with courage and persistence can light the way for someone else who feels overwhelmed by their own battles. In this way, obstacles do not just shape your journey, they ripple outward and impact the lives of others. It is also worth remembering that obstacles often redirect us toward paths we were meant to take. Sometimes a closed door is not a punishment, but protection, guiding you towards something better. What feels like a barrier today may turn out to be the very thing that leads you to a greater opportunity tomorrow. Life has a way of using challenges to align us with our true purpose, if we are willing to keep moving forward with faith and determination. So when you encounter obstacles, do not see them as signs to stop, but as signals to rise. Every struggle is preparing you, every challenge is shaping you, and every setback is refining you. The strength you are looking for is hidden inside the very difficulties you are trying to avoid. Your potential is not discovered in the absence of obstacles, but in the process of overcoming them. Greatness does not come from walking an easy road. It comes from conquering the difficult one. Obstacles are not there to hold you back. They are there to show you who you truly are. And once you begin to see them this way, you realize that every challenge is not an enemy, but an ally, pushing you to become stronger, braver, and more extraordinary than you ever thought possible. Your extraordinary self is already within you, revealed through courage, sacrifice, and relentless action. Too often, people go through life believing that greatness is something they must search for outside themselves, as if it lies hidden in some distant place or depends on the approval of others. But the truth is that the extraordinary has always been there, waiting quietly beneath layers of doubt, fear, and hesitation. It is not about becoming someone else. It is about uncovering the best version of who you already are. You are not ordinary because you lack potential. You feel ordinary only when you allow fear and comfort to bury the greatness inside you. The key to unlocking it lies in courage, sacrifice, and relentless action. Courage is the first doorway to discovering the extraordinary within. It does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward even when fear is present. Every person who has done something remarkable felt fear at some point, but they chose to act anyway. Courage is the moment when you stand up despite trembling knees, when you speak your truth despite the risk of rejection, when you take that first step into the unknown despite not having every answer. It is in these moments of courage that your extraordinary self begins to shine. Without courage, potential remains trapped in the prison of comfort. With courage, you release that potential and allow it to expand. Sacrifice is the price you must be willing to pay to reach the extraordinary. Nothing of value comes without giving something up. To rise to your best self, you may have to sacrifice comfort, leisure, or the approval of others. You may have to let go of distractions, toxic relationships, or old habits that keep you anchored in mediocrity. Sacrifice is never easy, but it is always necessary. It is a sign that you are trading what is temporary for what is lasting, trading what is easy for what is meaningful. Those who achieve extraordinary things are not necessarily more talented or lucky. They are simply willing to sacrifice what others are not. Every sacrifice you make in pursuit of your purpose strengthens your character and brings you closer to the person you are meant to become. Relentless action is the engine that drives everything forward. Courage and sacrifice mean nothing if they are not paired with consistent, determined effort. Action is where dreams meet reality. It is where vision becomes achievement. Relentless action means showing up every day, even when you are tired, even when progress feels invisible, even when others tell you to quit. It means refusing to be passive, refusing to wait for opportunities to fall into your lap, and instead creating those opportunities through effort and persistence. Extraordinary is not about doing one grand thing once. It is about doing the small, necessary things again and again until they build into something remarkable. The extraordinary self within you is not revealed overnight. It is revealed gradually, piece by piece, through the choices you make daily. Each time you act with courage, you chip away at fear. Each time you make a sacrifice, you strengthen your commitment. Each time you take relentless action, you move closer to your vision. Over time, these small victories accumulate, and you begin to see yourself differently. You realize you are capable of far more than you imagined. You realize that the extraordinary was never outside of you. It was always there, waiting for you to prove it through your actions. It is important to understand that your extraordinary self will not emerge if you live only for comfort. Comfort keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small. Growth lives outside of comfort, and to step into the extraordinary requires the willingness to endure discomfort, face setbacks, and continue pressing forward despite obstacles. The process will test you, but that is the point. It is in being tested that your extraordinary self is revealed. Just as fire refines gold, challenges refine you into someone stronger, bolder, and more determined. This journey also demands that you silence the voices of doubt, both from within and from others. People may tell you that you are not capable, that your dreams are unrealistic, or that you should settle for less. But their opinions do not define your potential. Your extraordinary self is not measured by their expectations. It is measured by your own belief and effort. Every time you choose to listen to your inner voice of possibility, instead of the noise of negativity, you move closer to unlocking the greatness that already lives inside you. Remember that courage, sacrifice, and relentless action are not qualities reserved for the few. They are choices available to everyone. Every extraordinary individual you admire was once faced with the same decision, to play small or to rise up. They were ordinary people who decided to act with extraordinary consistency. You have the same choice today. When you summon the courage to take risks, when you accept the sacrifices required for growth, and when you commit to relentless action, you will begin to see your life transform. Your extraordinary self is not waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment will never come. It is waiting for you to act now. Each step you take today, no matter how small, awakens more of your hidden potential. Each act of courage makes you stronger. Each sacrifice makes you sharper. Each relentless action brings you closer to the extraordinary life you deserve. What you dream of becoming is already inside you. The question is whether you will do what it takes to reveal it. The truth is simple. You were never meant to remain ordinary. There is something greater within you, something that the world needs to see. Your courage, your willingness to sacrifice, and your relentless commitment to action are the keys to bringing it to light. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for luck. Do not wait for perfection. The extraordinary is already yours if you are willing to reach within, uncover it, and bring it to life. The journey from ordinary to extraordinary begins with one decision: to stop settling and start striving. Every great transformation in life starts with a moment of clarity, when you realize that the life you have been living does not reflect the life you are capable of living. Too many people settle into comfort zones, telling themselves that good enough is all they deserve. They convince themselves that their dreams are too far away, that success is only for the lucky, or that they should be satisfied with whatever life hands them. But the truth is that settling is a silent thief of potential. It keeps you small, it keeps you average, and it robs the world of the extraordinary gifts you have to offer. The turning point comes when you make a conscious decision to no longer settle for mediocrity, and instead begin striving for the highest version of yourself. One decision can change everything. It is the decision to stop saying, someday, and to start acting today. It is the decision to stop waiting for the perfect moment and to begin creating it. It is the decision to stop blaming circumstances and to take responsibility for your own future. Every extraordinary life you admire was shaped by a single moment when someone chose to strive instead of settle. They looked at their situation, acknowledged that it was ordinary at best, and then declared that they would not remain there. That decision did not instantly make them extraordinary, but it set the direction of their lives toward growth, progress, and purpose. Striving is not about comparing yourself to others or trying to prove something to the world. It is about living in alignment with your potential. Deep down, you already know that you are capable of more than what you are currently experiencing. That voice inside of you, the one that whispers about your dreams, your goals, and your ambitions, that is not fantasy, it is truth. Striving means listening to that voice and daring to chase it, even when others doubt you, even when the path is unclear, even when it feels overwhelming. Settling silences that voice, but striving gives it power. The decision to strive will not be easy. It demands effort, sacrifice, and discipline. It means saying no to distractions, no to excuses, and no to the comfort of staying the same. It means embracing discomfort because growth always lives outside of what feels safe. Yet, with every step you take toward striving, you begin to build momentum. You start to see small changes, greater focus, improved confidence, deeper resilience, and those small changes compound into massive transformation. Striving turns your life into a journey of progress where every day becomes an opportunity to get closer to your extraordinary self. Settling feels easier in the moment, but it carries a heavy cost. When you settle, you trade long-term fulfillment for short-term comfort. You avoid risk, but you also avoid growth. You escape struggle, but you also escape strength. You feel safe, but you never feel truly alive. Years pass, and you begin to wonder what could have been if you had only decided to strive. The pain of regret always outweighs the discomfort of effort. Striving, on the other hand, may stretch you, but it also fulfills you. It gives you purpose, meaning, and the joy of knowing that you are moving toward the life you were meant to live. When you decide to stop settling and stop striving, you inspire others as well. Your courage to take action shows those around you that it is possible for them too. Extraordinary journeys are contagious. They light fires in the hearts of others who may be stuck in mediocrity, reminding them that they also have the power to decide differently. In this way, your striving does not just elevate your own life. It ripples outward and creates impact far beyond what you may ever see. It is important to remember that striving is not about perfection. You will stumble, you will fail, and you will face setbacks. But striving means you rise every time you fall. Striving means you keep your eyes fixed on the vision ahead, no matter how many obstacles appear in your path. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every obstacle becomes training, and every setback becomes preparation. This is what separates those who live extraordinary lives from those who remain ordinary. They did not avoid struggle. They embraced it because they knew it was part of the journey. The beauty of it all is that the power to begin this journey is already in your hands. You don't need approval, resources, or perfect timing to make the decision. All you need is the courage to say, I will no longer settle. I will strive for more. That one choice unlocks a new direction for your life. It shifts your mindset from passivity to action, from excuses to accountability, from limitations to possibilities. Once that shift happens, everything begins to change: your thoughts, your habits, your opportunities, and eventually your future. The journey from ordinary to extraordinary is not for the chosen few. It is for anyone who decides that settling is no longer an option. It begins with you, right here, right now. With one decision, you can set yourself on a path of growth, resilience, and fulfillment. With one decision, you can rewrite your story and create a life that reflects your true potential. Stop settling for less than you deserve. Start striving for all that you are capable of becoming. Extraordinary is not out there waiting for someone else. It is waiting for you the moment you decide to claim it.